Hello, Teresa Phelps Martin, bringing you the energetic signature so you can be real, be true, and be soulfully you. The idea of being soulful is really getting under the surface and going into the depths of our experience, which I get for some of us, that's too much. Some of us really thrive and enjoy staying on the surface with life. It's a gift to delight in. And that is what Virgo season is all about. This is the signature for the week of September 2nd until September 9th. That is so wild to say out loud, but it's also what happens, right? We move forward, and hopefully this is here to help you move forward with the ability to connect to your own intuition, your own wisdom. And as you know, I use the wisdom of the heavens, the archetypal energy of the cosmos, to help inspire and inform our daily engagement. So because this is coming at the beginning of September, I want to share that September is really about grounding the change, allowing ourselves to assimilate and integrate and organize all these shifts that we've been going through. This week we'll have the first quarter moon, where the moon is in Sagittarius and the sun is in Virgo. Those are two mutable signs. And when the energy of the zodiac is in the same modality, then we have a square in 90-degree angles in the sky. And so what we have is this movement in this Virgo lunation of, it started in the new moon in Virgo, and now we've moved from the 6th sign in the zodiac to the 9th sign in the zodiac, which is Sagittarius, and mutable fire, mutable earth. And so just think about it for a minute. If things are changing, because the adaptability, if we went from a yogic perspective, the idea of creation, sustenance, and dissolution, the beginning, the middle, and end, these three parts, we have this in the astrology. We have cardinal, we have fixed, and we have mutable. The create and initiate, the sustenance, to sustain, and then the dissolve, the dissolution. And the dissolution is an ending. So earth ending, if you went outside in the month of September, you would see the ground more dry, right? A little more cracked here in the northern hemisphere. Yet we'd see the abundance of flowers and richness and all that the earth has provided for us. So we want to be in that place of digesting the energy of what's been provided to us, and realize that we're challenged by this, our faith, our beliefs, our way that, for me, this first quarter moon is really asking us to trust in the unfolding. So the overarching theme, just in case you didn't catch it last week, for this month, this lunation, is really about grounding the change and remaining aligned, remaining divinely centered. So in that connection to the fact that we're cooperating with bigger energy, right? Does the moon really care about us? No, right? It's a rock and it spins around the earth. However, it takes care of us. The moon is how the mundane happens. If the moon spun out of orbit, we would be screwed. It has been so consistent for billions of years. That consistency is very Virgoian. That sort of reliability, accountability. And so what we want to do is recognize that, so I'll go with this. The moon's gift is to orbit and nurture and nourish and help with the tides and the flow. If you use an almanac, it's been around forever. You plant and fish by the moon. What sustains us, what energy comes and nourishes us. This is what the moon does. It is so reliable. I mean, it is on the mark again and again and again and again and again. It travels 360 degrees every 28 to 29 days and has been doing this for a long time. So being adaptable is really important. And the moon holds us accountable. So if we know we're moving into the first quarter square, the opening square, we want to look at the storyline so far. If you're grounding change, what habits are you initiating? What energy are you letting go of? Right? What narrative do you have to shift in order to move forward? Because Virgo energy is also improving, enhancing, right? And so being aware of that, the trusting of the unfolding is realizing that the challenges are part of the growth cycle. They're not fun. No, we don't want to look forward to them. No, we don't say, hey, universe, make this really hard on me because I want to develop and evolve on a soulful level. No, and I don't recommend ever asking the universe for that. What we want to do, though, is recognize that there's nothing that we need to take personally, nor are we responsible for everybody else, right? But our response is essential. So trusting in the unfolding is trusting that there's going to be speed bumps, hurdles, obstacles, challenges. And that is part of the idea of the threshold. I'm looking at Ganesh and it just became a very strong energy in my space. Ganesh is that elephant-headed deity. And the myth of Ganesh is that he stands in a threshold. Sometimes he helps to dissolve obstacles, and sometimes he is the obstacle. And it's really to be in this dance of life, to recognize as we're navigating all the change, what are we grounding in? Ground into that connection to source, God, the divine, the spirit, however you want to define it. But come up with that definition, come up with that energy of how you organize that connection. And also, if you can't organize it, I know of one person in particular that when we first met, it was very hard for her to pinpoint what this meant to her. And now she's gone through a lot of things and she's learning how to trust in this bigger unfolding. And that journey has allowed her to crystallize how she wants to articulate her relationship with the sacred expression of life. That is the idea of being soulfully you. That is the idea of remembering that you're not doing this alone. That is the idea of me looking to the stars, that the sky is my altar, and knowing that we're moving forward. And in that movement, we can trust the unfolding. We can trust the challenges, but we have to be kind to ourselves, because Virgo energy really is about recognizing that you are beautiful. You came into this world with all you needed. And we get to develop it and refine it and improve. That improvement means we have to let go. So look at this energy this week of this movement from this new moon to this full moon of kind of just checking in. Checking in. What is your faith? What are your beliefs? What are the truths? Are you speaking empowered truths? Or are you still operating from limited beliefs? Explore this, okay? The reason why I'm spending so much more time this week on the moon is because there's not a lot of transits happening in the sky. So that means the week is a little more quiet, but in that quietness, what can happen, it can feel like things aren't changing, things aren't happening. So a couple of things to point out. On Friday, the moon will be in Virgo, and then it's void, and then it moves into Sagittarius, and Friday evening is when the moon is, it's Saturday, the 3rd, that we have the square. I apologize for that. When the moon moves into Sagittarius in the morning on the 3rd, let me double check so I don't misguide you, at 2:08 p.m. we'll have that challenge. So it's Labor Day. It's a great way to be productive because there's a lot of earth energy in the sky. So look at the challenges. Are they conversations? Are they conflict? And what energy are you bringing? What joy are you allowing to emanate from the container of you, the temple of your essence? And can you let that just be enough? All right. And so then the moon will stay in Sagittarius through the 4th. And then on the 5th, we have the moon going into Capricorn on the 5th and 6th. And then on the 7th, it's in Aquarius. Then it's not in Aquarius for long. It moves really quickly. So on the 8th, it is void from 8:34 a.m. And then it enters into, so the moon is in Aquarius on the 7th and 8th, but it's void in Aquarius for quite some time, all day on the 8th until midnight, 12:42 a.m. on the 9th. It moves into Pisces, and then we have this movement moving towards the full moon, which will happen on September 10th at 17 degrees of Pisces. So that movement through the moon is really this week of looking at like, okay, the moon helps us go week by week, month by month, or as some people say, month by month. And in that, we kind of understand how we orbit and how we're relating. And when the moon's in Virgo, we want to look at that organization. Now, I'm going forward and backward real quick. Virgo is that energy of embracing yourself, honoring your gifts, and understanding what still needs to be healed. What in this, like, to be of service to your soul means you're going to recognize that there are parts of your being that are always going to need love and attention and healing. That's part of this human experience of living on earth and having this opportunity for our soul to come alive and awaken and engage. So sometimes that feels very contractive and heavy and dense. So Virgo energy is reminding us that we have this innate wisdom. We have the gifts, we have the resources if we allow ourselves to lean into it. Because the opposing energy of Virgo is Pisces, where it's the wholeness, all of it. So we have this opposition of the watery, sort of mystical, magical, all-encompassing, soulful energy that we're all part of the same. We are all connected. And then we have the Virgo of like the individualized, the cellular nature of our being that takes all this energy and works with it. Venus moves into Virgo on September 5th. Venus in Virgo is, she can be nitpicky. She can be overly detailed oriented. She can also be more reserved. So instead of getting nitpicky, look at the details of life, look at your time management, value and reprioritize, create the boundaries, use Venus in a way where she's more reserved to kind of pull back and be more of a witness, right? And she will be here, she moves into Libra on September 28th. So we have the month of September where Venus is in this place of like really refinement, because when she moves into Venus at the end of the month, she's in a sign that she rules and it becomes beautiful and social again. That being said, Mercury is in Libra right now. Mercury rules Virgo. Mercury on Friday has an opposition with Jupiter. Now, Mercury is going to be in this conversation with Jupiter 3 different times, because Mercury is about to go retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde in the evening of September 9th. So Mercury is going to travel through Libra and then move backwards, even though the planets really don't go backward. It's just our rotation, how we spin on Earth, how this backdrop of the cosmos appears. And sometimes it appears that the planet looks like it's going backwards. So what happens is in that trajectory, Mercury is going to oppose Jupiter. Jupiter, the benevolence, the bestower of gifts, right? It's the joy, the faith, the belief system. Benevolence is my word for Jupiter. And that is in Aries, retrograde right now. Aries is about that drive, that new direction, that ability to spark a new journey, to blaze a new path, to have enthusiasm. And so Jupiter retrograde is going to travel all the way back into Pisces. So look at where Jupiter is in your chart. And then you'll understand what is being amplified, because Jupiter is the biggest planet, right? It is super expansive. What Saturn does is then come and contain it. And we need that container. So Mercury opposing Jupiter will happen 3 times, because then Mercury is going to move forward, right? It's going to move away from this opposition in Jupiter, and then it'll be retrograde and it'll be in opposition with Jupiter again. And I'm sorry, I don't have these exact dates in front of me. A friend of mine did send them to me. And then Mercury will go station direct when it's in Virgo, and then it'll move forward again and it'll have an opposition again with Jupiter. So what this means is really about being able to listen, being able to receive, being open to different perspectives, recognizing that there's validity in the many ways we approach and see our life, to be able to reflect the light that you see in yourself, that you see in others. What's coming to me right now is that namaskaram, which is this similar to namaste. Namaskaram is more reflective. So it's really a celebration of that light within you and that bowing down to that celebration. When the opposition between Jupiter and Mercury are that sort of ability to realize that we're in a new relationship, we're in a new dialogue, and we want to be in dialogue with this grandiosity, if I said that correctly, I don't know. And listening to the grandness of expression that can get amplified, and being open to these new perspectives. There's a storyline that is involved that is helping us recalibrate, to ground the change, to center ourselves in that divinity, in that ability to honor and respect your own benevolence and see it in the company of each other. So because Mercury is in Libra, and Venus is in Virgo, they are something called mutual receptivity. So Mercury rules Mercury rules Virgo. Venus rules Libra. So what we have is they're talking to each other. They can go change places. It's kind of interesting and a little too technical for these energetic signatures. But can you be in that reserved and listen, but also pause before you speak? Listen to the internal dialogue and then choose, because this is the gift of Mercury, choose to bring the value that you embrace and can invoke in relationship, and let that energy come with the words you speak. Right? This isn't the saying of, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. We want to let the truth come forward, but can we be more diplomatic with it? Can we bring this energy in a way that values the perspective of others, values our own perspective, prioritizes that relationship, and then is in dialogue with it, right? That being said, coming back to Venus is in has a lot of subtle energy right now. She's in Leo, and she is getting ready to move into Virgo. So that socialization, that excitement, that joy, that sort of flirtatious energy of celebrating the light. For Leo energy is also shy. So you might find that you needed to pull inward and get a little more quiet. And now when Venus is in this Leo energy, she makes an aspect with Pluto. She's quincunx Pluto. She's also quincunx Neptune, which I don't have written down, which is interesting. And what this makes is, it happened this morning, so it's already happened by the time you watch this and has passed. She makes a yod, which is a fated aspect. Some people call it the finger of God. What it is that there's you, as much as you want to change things, they're happening. To me, this idea of transformation, Pluto and Neptune are in a good relationship and will be. They separate a little bit the more Pluto goes retrograde and then Pluto goes direct. Don't worry about those details. they're in that sort of place, like, how do we transform our relationship we have with the divine? And can we really value it, that the love of our hearts, that truth, that messenger, that value of our own inner radiance? You know, I remember the first time somebody said to me, you know, you are God. And I was like, I'm not God, I'm Teresa, right? But we are of that creative life force, right? Venus in Leo, she's in that masculine energy. So she really, really wants to move forward with her values and radiance when she moves. And then being with this energy of Neptune and Pluto, it's kind of grounding and saying, hey, remember, we're changing the narrative in our relationship with the feminine. We're looking at these ways to value the slowing down. We're approaching ways where we can integrate all that's been going on. And it's, for me, looking at this aspect, this yod or this finger of God pointing at Venus, is that kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. The busy, the productivity is there. And when she moves into Virgo on the 5th, she will be productive, but productive in a way that's organized and refined. All right. Virgo energy is the goddess. It is the healer. It is this intuitive. So Venus being here is that place of like, oh yeah, how do we value our inner offering? How do we connect on a soulful level, a way that we have energy on a deep level, and can you root into that and lean into that greater infrastructure that's helping to guide your way on. All right. So just as a reminder, you can be good to yourself, right? Take care of yourself. That is really the biggest thing. I just remembered that Venus is going to be in this quincunx with Jupiter. When she's in Virgo, Jupiter is still in retrograde in Aries. So in this sort of subtle, like, we're expanding the ways of this divine feminine embodiment, right? They are being amplified. It's just at a much slower pace. So take care of yourself, because in my opinion, what we're doing is we're kind of recalibrating in a way that we can reclaim our truth. So we want to trust the unfolding, but stay grounded, grounding that change, being divinely aligned, being divinely centered, and trusting that unfolding in a way that we can choose responsibly. We can choose the beauty, we can choose the love, we can choose the brilliance of being. So be real, be true, be so fully exactly who you are, exactly who you came to be. This is Virgo energy. And you can like, you can comment, you can share. I appreciate it all. Sometimes I'm surprised when people tell me they've watched these and they never communicated, but I guess that's just part of the offering. And have a brilliant week. Enjoy the change. Find a way to really celebrate the slowing down. Please know you can reach out to me. I am still doing soul sessions. It is available to you. You can go to teresaphelpsmartin.com and you can schedule one. And if you have any questions or feedback, please reach out. I thank you so much for tuning in, and please always know you hold inner agency in the unfolding. So honor yourself, be true to yourself, embrace the gifts that you are, and celebrate it, because you're meant to be here. You belong, and we're all connected. We're all interconnected, even all the stars in the sky.